Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. News reaching us today is that Mainoo has signed a new contract. It's been a long time coming. There have been reports that he will sign and it will be revealed soon. It was revealed sooner than we expected. We probably thought it would go towards the end of the season. That's when they will reveal it. But it has been revealed that Mainoo has signed a new contract until 2031. There are details still coming in. Sally talks earlier said that the salary will be around £135,000. There are others saying 150,000, 120,000, but it doesn't really matter how much he will earn. What matters is that he's still a Man United player and he'll be a Man United player in the near future. And if we can have 5 good seasons of Kobbie Mainoo, we need to be retaining our players, because Man United has been built on the strength of its academy, on the strength of the academy graduates who come into the first team, stay into the first team and make an impact. And Kobbie Mainoo, especially in the last few games, has been very impactful. He continues to develop. We can see improvements in his game, in his defensive play, in his attacking play. He almost had a very good assist to Ahmad, but it was blocked off the line. So he's a player that really embodies what the club is about. The club is about signing new players, but also giving the academy graduates a chance. And if you look at the academy players growing up, they could have looked at players like Rashford, who came into the team and stayed for a very long time. You could have looked at players like Kobbie Mainoo. So there needs to be that encouragement when the academy players look into the team. They see that this progression, that they have a chance to make it into the first team. One of the things that really liked about this news is when JJ Gabriel liked the Kobbie Mainoo news on Instagram. So he's also a player that we want to retain, and he needs to see that there's that progression towards the first team. If he doesn't see this progression to first team, then he probably changes his mind, goes to the teams like Barcelona who are after him. So this not only secures Kobbie's future, but also gives hope to the academy players. The family was featured with him taking pictures after him signing the contract. It's a good time for his family. You remember during the Ruben Amorim period that his brother had this t-shirt that he was wearing, Free Kobbie, and it was a tumultuous period because Kobbie wasn't getting enough game time, and when he's not getting enough game time, they thought that it would probably be best if he changed clubs. He found a place where he could play more often. It's not actually how we like approaching these things, but it wasn't really fair the way he wasn't getting as much game time as he should. At least, even if he was not favorite for positions, you'd think he would get a more game time than he did. He was mostly on the bench, and I think he wasn't really proud of that. Right now, he's in a position where Michael Carrick has come in. He has given him a chance. He's played every game since Michael Carrick came on. He's been having improvements. He's learning from Casemiro. So such a player, tying him down, especially in a midfield rebuild that we are going into. We are going into a midfield rebuild where players like Casemiro are leaving, Ugarte are leaving. So if we have only Kobbie Mainoo and I think in that midfield area that we depend on, then we can't lose all of the midfielders try to replace them all. So if we can find a good partner for Kobbie Mainoo, probably partners like Elliot Anderson, Sandro Tonali, Bruno Guimaraes, just that experience that can be able, you can't have two inexperienced players in midfield, an experienced head that can be able to guide Kobbie while he learns his game. That's what you have seen Casemiro has done over the last few games, over the last few years, when he has tried to guide the other midfielders, the other players around him. And if you can get an experienced player, a player who has done it at the top level, then I think this can be a good partnership going into the future that can be able to propel Man United to more successes as they come. Looking at the other piece of news is that Andoni Iraola is a contender for the Manchester United job. This was by Jason Bart in the Telegraph. It says that he's really admired. The hierarchy in Man United think that he's a person who's Premier League proven, but mostly what you really like about Andoni Iraola is this style of play. He's had a very good style of play. He's sold very many players. If you look at the recent transfer window, they have lost players like Mainoo, they have lost other key players, but they have also kept performing very well, and right now they are in the top 10. They are still fighting for Europe, and if you can manage to always change your team from time to time and still be able to get performances, that is usually a sign of a good coach, because you have to coach the new players coming in. You have to make sure they understand your identity. You have to make sure they understand how you want to play. The style of play has remained the same. The football has been very good. In fact, recently he's been nominated for manager of the month because he went the whole of April unbeaten. So he's a manager that knows how to play. There are those who have doubts because he's not managed a big club, but you have to get the chance somehow, because if you get the chance and you can prove yourself, then it's something that you can't really overlook somebody for. But I think at this time in Man United we have also scars, because we appointed managers like Ten Hag, who did very well at Ajax, but once he came at Man United, he had a very first good season, but the second season wasn't that good. We have a manager like Ruben Amorim, was very good at Sporting, but when he came at Man United, they didn't have enough patience with him. He didn't do that well. At the point where he wanted more signings, he didn't get the signings. So this is another case where you realize it's a risk, but not as big a risk as the other managers, because Andoni Iraola had managed in the Premier League and had shown that he can develop a team, and again and again and again, even though he loses his best players, he still keeps playing. And Man United have very good players, and if he can get that kind of talent and he brings his style of play, then he's going to be a manager that can also do the job. So this was the news piece from the Telegraph by Jason Abbott, the chief football correspondent. He says Bournemouth's departing coach strongly admired at Old Trafford for his attacking style, but Michael Carrick remains favourite. So Michael Carrick is still the favourite for the job because he's doing a good job. As you can see, the results have been very good since he came on. He has only lost 2 games, I think drawn 2 or 3 games, but the rest of the games he's won them. He's moved us into the Champions League positions very securely. I think we need 1 point from now to be able to confirm that Champions League spot. So he's a manager who they have his own blueprint of what he wants to do. They have seen it in action, so he's still the favorite. They are going to be interviewing other managers, but Michael Carrick still remains the favorite. There is also a concern about his style of play. The recent games we have not played well, even though we have gotten the results. If you look at the game against Brentford, we gave them far too many chances. I think they had 12 chances that they created, and if Thiago was in on form or can remember to shoot, he would have scored at least 2-3 goals. We had a last ditch challenge by Lamens. We had a few saves by Heaven. We had a few saves by Lamens. So it's also a concern, because the concern is about how you manage the players. You know, when you are in interim manager, all you have to do is get results, but once you are a permanent manager, there are going to be points where you have to have disagreements with players. It depends how you'll manage such disagreements. There are going to be ups and downs. How are you going to recover from those downs? So there's so many things that you have to do as a manager, and we have had cases where people do very well as interim managers, but once as they are given the job as the permanent managers, it doesn't really work the same. So there are all those concerns that have to be made. It's not that Carrick won't do the job. He can also be another manager like Vincent Kompany just took on the job. He did very poorly at Burnley, but at least even when he was doing poorly, his style of play was still attractive. Bayern took a chance on him, and I see what he is doing in the Champions League this season. There was also the case of other managers who started with the academy, such as Zidane, such as Pep Guardiola. So you never really know the trajectory that a manager will take. I think if Carrick just continues with the job and tries to create an identity, he can do it. So let's see what the club decides, because over the next 3 months they should be getting in a new manager, either whether it will be Andoni Iraola, whether it will be Michael Carrick, or even other managers linked to the job like Nagelsmann. It's going to be interesting what the club decides, but the most important thing for me is how they back the manager. If they can't rebuild the midfield well enough, it doesn't really matter which manager we take, because the midfield is the engine room of the team, and if we can't control that midfield, then we can't win as many games as we should to be able to remain towards the top positions and be a contender for the Premier League and other major competitions. So it's still a matter of knowing what we will rebuild. There's been news about Baliba. Baliba is one of the players we want. We also want other players that we have been linked with, such as Tonali, Bruno Guimaraes, Elliot Anderson. So we have very many players linked to Man United, but if we can get that elite, at least one elite player, and then a second midfielder also very good, then I think we can have a good season going forward. So let's see what the week brings. Any news, we'll keep bringing them to you. Comment, share on your views, subscribe to the channel, and let's keep talking about Man United. Thank you.